Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by Derek.
Hey, everybody.
We are back, but not for our regularly scheduled programming that you're used to seeing. We're not doing GH, and sadly, Wicked Wicked Games is over. But Derek has graciously offered to help co-host Sunset Beach, so we're diving back in. Tonight we are discussing episodes 76 to 85, so I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. Okay, so we pick up with Ben and Meg having been locked in the wine cellar underneath the deep, I think.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if this happened this time or if it was previous episodes, but at some point during this being locked in together, they were asleep, and Ben was dreaming about Maria, and he started choking Meg.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think that this is supposed to be a red herring for the audience because Ricardo already blames Ben for his sister being killed. So I think this is supposed to make us think that maybe he was violent towards Maria, that he wants to choke her, like he hates her so much. But it doesn't scare Meg away. She's just like, I'm not Maria. Don't choke me.
No.
So Annie, who is still in hiding because they think that they think she's dead, but she was also being accused for killing her father, goes down to the wine cellar, but she's being followed by, what's Meg's ex-boyfriend's name? Tim.
Yeah.
So he's kind of known that Annie's alive, but he's just been like stalking her.
Yeah.
So, but he follows her to the wine cellar. She gets in, where she opens it from the outside and finds Ben and Meg together. And then Tim walks in and he's just like, you guys knew Annie was alive this whole time? Like, what the fuck? Ben asks Annie to walk Meg home, which I thought was weird. And Tim and him have like a private conversation, and it's just a bunch of nothing we really haven't seen before. Basically Tim saying to stay away from Meg and vice versa, and Ben telling him to go back to Kansas.
That's a recurring theme.
Tim's cute though.
He's
just a jerk.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gets better though. You do, but I don't.
Oh, it's your first time watching?
So back in 1999, I dipped in, I think, in the summer because that's the only way I would have been able to. And you and I had texted about this. I saw Eddie Cibrian. I'm not really sure how you say his last name. Cibrian. Yeah. I saw those dimples and I was like, who is this man?
Yeah, he is definitely a trigger. When I was in high school, and I'm like, yeah.
I still wasn't like a soap opera watcher, like a consistent soap opera watcher. I would kind of see an episode here or there. But I think I did watch a few weeks of it because I was just like so in love with him. And then I think that may have been the summer that I first got like a real computer and I had internet, and I remember doing like research on him. And like I found out through like the message boards, like Ask Jeeves or whatever, that he was actually leaving the show to join Third Watch, and I was like, I just found him. How could he leave?
Oh yeah, that's right. He did leave the show. Yeah.
But yes,
so yeah.
But I was also intrigued because it was a recap. It was the other Caitlin, so I didn't really know this Caitlin back then.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was intrigued because everybody seemed to know everything. She knew. Spoiler alert: we're not up to this point. That he has a baby with his girlfriend's mother, and she knew that the baby was her brother, but she was with the father. So I was like, and at 14, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Well, I started watching in the fall of '97, but I have since rewatched the whole thing because of YouTube and things like that. But yeah,
I want to get to 1998 so bad because I want to see the serial killer storyline.
That's my favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite.
But right now I think we're in April/May of 97.
Yeah, we're only on month 4 of the show.
Yeah. But it feels like they've been on forever.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, but so Casey and Ray, I have been rooting for them, but Ray is so frustrating
Mhm.
because Casey just like puts it all on the line. He's just like
Mhm.
he lets her know that he likes her.
Mhm.
Eventually, I think at this point she's come to verbalize how she feels about him, sort of. um, I don't know. She's so wishy washy. I want them to be together, but at the same time, I know she's leaving soon, and I'm kind of like, just leave because you're tired.
Yeah,
You're
kinda
really
like,
tiring me out.
it's getting a little redundant.
Yeah. I actually so on a rewatch, I have seen up to around this point because I never actually saw her leave.
Mhm.
At some point, I skipped like 30 episodes because I wanted to see the opening credits that I know,
Mhm.
not
Yeah,
these ones.
yeah.
So, and at that point, I saw the trial a little bit.
Mhm.
So I saw Constance Towers come on as
Mhm.
Cole's grandmother.
Yeah. Mhm.
So yes, I kind of dipped in and around all over the
Yeah.
place. But yeah, so I've never actually seen this part because I've never seen her parents find out that her and Casey weren't married.
Mhm.
Um, and I've never actually seen her exit. And it sucks because I actually really like the actress.
I
And
do too.
I
Yeah,
was rooting for her and Casey, but when I found out she doesn't make it, I'm just kind of like,
but
leave.
I do see why they got rid of her though, because the show went in a different direction.
Yeah, but she went on to do other things. I've seen her in like prime
Yeah.
time stuff. Um, so where are we? Oh, so I think Annie saw Ricardo came to see Ben and Meg at his house, and Annie got like spooked because
Mhm.
of the police. So she went running off,
Mhm.
and she's so stupid. At this point, um, Elaine has been arrested for the murder of Dell
Yeah.
because Eddie tipped him off,
Mhm.
and there was this whole big, not really fight, but struggle with Paula over her mother, it being justifiable homicide. I'm like, I don't think that's really a term. I think you're just stretching
Yeah.
it because it's your mother.
Yeah, Paula was kind of annoying me because I'm like, you're a police officer. You should understand that, like, Ricardo did what he had to do. It's his job. Like, I
Right.
don't get why you're so upset about it.
Hmm. Um, yeah, Paula's another one. Like,
Hmm.
I like her, but she annoys me, and I know she's not on for the whole show, so I'm just kind of like, when do you leave?
Yeah, I remember when she leaves. It's really like abrupt. It's
It's
like,
abrupt, really.
yeah, like
Wow.
I think that like I don't know. We're not there yet, but
Yeah.
yeah, she leaves very abruptly, and I think they just write her out very quickly.
Yeah, from what I read, I don't think she makes it past 1997. So,
No, no, she doesn't.
and so that time that I dipped in the summer,
Mhm.
Gabby seemed like she was like more of a leading lady
Yeah.
or more in the upfront. Here, they barely use her. She's been in the credits since the first episode, and she didn't show up till 2 months into the show. And
Mhm.
I feel like I can count on both hands how many times I've seen her in the 2 more months following the first 2 months.
Yeah, I think you see her more in the fall of '97. So
That's
yeah,
so weird.
yeah.
Again, I guess maybe that's when they decided different direction.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to read Gabby because I can't tell if she's genuinely like
In the
no.
she's a vixen in the early episode. She wants Ricardo, like she wants to break them up.
So I could see the attraction to Ricardo, but like
Mhm.
I don't know if I believe her if she when she's like, Paula's my sister, I care about her because I feel like, do you like? I
I
can't
don't think
tell if she's being like
it doesn't seem
manipulative.
like it, does it? I don't think
No.
no. I think
Usually there's like a
it's
tell,
harder
like they'll
to
talk to
tell.
themselves or something.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know how to read her. Is she always a vixen or does she become like a harem?
No, they redeem her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Mhm.
Um, I love Annie though. She's so reckless. She just she's very reactive.
Annie's the
Um,
best.
so
Love
like
her.
I said, she went on the run again.
Yeah.
And she's on the boardwalk or the pier and she sees a cop, so she like gets spooked and runs, and the cop's not even looking at her at first until she starts running.
Yeah.
So she like gave herself away. And then there's like a cop coming from each direction, and she goes into like this, I don't know, lifeguard booth and
Tower,
climbs up
yeah.
on the roof.
Mhm.
And
And I was
then
laughing because they're like, "It's so high." I'm like, "It doesn't look that high."
oh, actually, before she got up there, she threw a cop in the water.
That's right, yeah. And Casey fishes him out of the
Yes.
water.
But then she ended up on the roof,
Mhm.
and Ben went up there to like get her down, tell her everything's gonna be okay. But when he opened the latch, it hit her and she fell off the edge and was hanging off.
Yeah.
There's this whole long struggle. She finally gets up there. She kept saying she was stuck, but they never showed what was stuck.
No.
But usually they'll show you like what part is stuck on something, and
And like I
oh.
said, underneath Vanessa and Meg, we're like, "Oh, it's so high.
Yeah.
She might not make it." And I'm like, "Please."
So they Ben saves her. Also, side note, it's been really weird to like revert back to seeing him as Ben. I
Uh-huh.
ha- already like twice I've caught myself almost about to call him Theo.
Yeah.
But Ben saves her.
Mhm.
Meg goes up to be like, "Oh my god, are you okay?"
Mhm.
And he's like hugging Meg and comforting Meg, and Annie's just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
So then Annie just jumps.
And she's totally fine.
Could have fell, she would have been fine.
What? That was crazy.
She had to break them up somehow, so she jumped.
She was just like, "I'm over this," and just jumped right in.
And she didn't even like pass out. She swam.
No.
They got her, and she was like, "Let go of me, I'm fine." Like the lifeguards.
So that whole like thing of her hanging over was for nothing,
It
basically.
really was. Um, so I it's weird because like everybody in the town seems to know each other,
Mhm.
but a lot of them don't share a lot of their scenes together, and they'll very randomly have a scene where they're like, "Oh hey," and like they
Mhm.
act like they really know each other. And
Yeah.
like this was one of those weird scenes. So Casey's like fishing her out of the water, and he's like, "I'm so happy you're alive," and they're like hugging, and I'm like, "You guys never intertwine stories, as far as I know, unless they do
Yeah.
later on." But
They don't interact much in the rest of the show either, from what I remember.
really,
Yeah.
I really like Casey. He's my
Mhm.
number two, I think, next to Cole as far as crushes. I don't, and I just don't know who he would be paired with.
Yeah.
I know he becomes a lawyer at some point because I remember seeing him in Suits.
Who,
And he,
Casey?
yeah, no,
He's
I
always
could have sworn he
like,
mentioned he was going to law school at some point, but he dropped out.
oh, okay, maybe.
I thought,
Maybe
and then I
so.
thought maybe he just finished it.
I don't
I
remember.
don't
Maybe. I don't think so.
know. No, maybe I'm remembering wrong. Um, so yeah, I'm over the way Lee trying to get Ray to take the job in San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't like him at all.
I'm just like,
He's such a creep.
I don't want him to get what he wants, but also I know he's gonna get what he wants. I'm just like, just leave, just go.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Sean is having on and off blindness, and he doesn't want to tell his parents
Mhm.
or the doctors. He only trusts Ray. Um, Tiffany's the only one that knows really, and she like is begging him to tell somebody.
Mhm.
Um, Caitlin finds out, and she agrees to keep the secret. I'm like, all right,
Mhm.
sounds like a great plan.
So I don't know. Maybe you can answer this question for me.
Okay.
Did Sean and Mark get into a fight, and that's why he's in the hospital and he hits
Yes.
Meg? Is that what happened? Okay.
Yes. So at some point, Tiffany Tiffany was pretending to be Dorothy from Kansas.
Mhm.
And that's how she got into Ben's orbit. But then he figured out she wasn't Dorothy, but he didn't know that Meg was Dorothy.
Mhm.
And I don't know why, but for some reason, she was hanging out at Ben's house
Mhm.
with Sean and what's the other one's name?
Mark.
Mark.
Mhm.
And they kind of got into a pushing match over her.
Mhm.
Mark pushed him, and Sean hit his head on the mantle of the fireplace,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
and he had a head injury.
Mhm.
Um, That seems like so long ago. Jeez. Do you remember Annie almost being cremated?
I do vaguely, yeah. I would love to rewatch that.
That's around like episode 25.
Okay.
And then she like went to her own funeral.
Mhm.
Um, so Olivia and Bet, two of my favorites,
Mhm.
don't want to get found out that they had something to do with Elaine's baby being taken
Yeah.
20 something years ago. So, in order to stop a trial from happening and any of that coming out, they
Mhm.
both decide that they're both going to admit to killing Dell, so that there's so many suspects that the trial just has to be thrown out. I'm like, I don't think that's how that works, but all right. Just like the whole justifiable homicide thing.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's
there's
what
a
they
big
do.
problem with the law in Sunset Beach because Amy doesn't get any trouble for pushing the police officer,
Right, I thought about that too. I was like, well, you assaulted a police officer, so that
and
is a
Meg and
crime.
Ben don't get arrested for aiding and abetting Annie. Like, I mean, nobody gets held accountable there.
I mean, I guess I can twist it in my brain to be like, well, she wasn't guilty, so in a way they weren't aiding and abetting a fugitive, even though she was thought to be at
Yeah,
the
true, true.
time.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know if that would work in the real world, but
Probably not, but it's Sunset Beach, so
just go with it.
yeah, I'll just go with it.
But so I like really enjoyed almost every episode, even the ones where like nothing big was happening, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
I can't believe this show only lasted 3 years and Passions lasted 9. Like, how
I
did that
agree.
happen?
I agree. The show is great.
Like, sometimes it moves at the pace of a soap opera, but it always feels like a primetime show to me.
I think that's what Aaron Spelling wanted in the beginning. Is he wanted a daytime soap that had like a primetime feel.
Hmm.
I think that's what Sons of Beach was, and I think eventually they switched it to full blown daytime later
Okay.
on. Because
Okay.
I don't know, they were using the film look, and then they get rid of the film look. Like I think in the summer of '97.
Oh, really? It switches.
Yeah, it looks more
Mm.
like a soap. And,
Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
I remember in the 90s, days had like a very glossy look. And I
Hmm.
felt like that's how all soaps looked. Like
Yeah.
that's how you knew it was a soap opera if you saw that certain
Right.
glossiness to it. So I wonder if that's the look they switched to. Hmm. Um so yeah, so Sean ends up finally admitting to his parents that he has on and off blindness. Um Gregory says that he's gonna get the best doctors,
Hmm.
and he finally goes home. Um Did you think that Sean was faking that his blindness came back when Tiffany and Mark were hugging to pretend like he didn't see it? Because for a minute I was like, is he faking this?
I didn't get that impression. No.
No,
Mm-mm.
I thought maybe he would. I don't know because I feel like on
I'm
Dynasty, I feel like Blake
I'm
faked
not
his
saying he
blindness.
wouldn't do that, but I didn't get that impression.
Because then Mark leaves and he's like, "Oh wait, it's coming back," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Did it ever leave though?"
that's a good point. I never thought about that.
I don't trust anybody. um. Oh, so before Olivia joined in on admitting that she killed Dell, she was in the what do they call it? The little cave, the grotto.
Oh, yeah, that's what they call
Um, yeah, the grotto by the beach with Cole,
it. Hmm.
and they're having a fight because she caught him. Well, she saw him with Caitlyn, and she realized that that's Caitlyn's boyfriend now. So
Hmm.
she's like, "You seduced my daughter." She's
Hmm.
like, "How could you do that?" And he's trying to explain, "I didn't know that that was your daughter." And
Hmm.
she's kind of always known he was a jewel thief. Like she never really bought that he was on the up and up, but she liked the sex, I think. So she was like,
Hmm.
"Whatever."
Yeah,
So she's like, "You're a jewel thief. I'm gonna tell her."
yeah,
And then she got a good slap.
yeah. She did.
um, I found it funny at one point when she was talking to Gregory about how she was this poor girl that he never would have looked twice at.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "You were this poor girl in Sunset Beach with a British accent?"
Yeah. Yeah,
Her
she apparently comes from, a poor family in England. I was like, "That doesn't sound real."
Um, yes. Oh, so Vanessa wants to write a whole story about Elaine getting arrested and Olivia and Bet admitting to it or
Mhm,
confessing to whatever. But the story gets scrapped or watered down because
mhm,
there's a new owner, and surprise, surprise, Gregory bought the paper.
yep,
um, I like the soft moments between Gregory and Olivia,
mhm.
but I also like
Yeah,
it when they're at each other's necks.
they definitely have good chemistry, whether they're fighting or whether they're being nice to each other.
Yeah. Um, oh, we got to see Spike, Tiffany's dog,
Yeah, and Gregory kept sneezing.
because he's allergic. Do you remember when Sean was like first hiding Tiffany in the like maid's quarters and he couldn't
Uh-huh.
understand why he was sneezing? He's like, it's like
Yeah.
there's an animal in this house. And I think he caught Spike and Tiffany was hiding in the closet, and that's what made her get found out because he was gonna take Spike to like a kill
Mhm.
shelter or something.
Yeah. Adrian France doesn't have much longer on the show either. She gets
No.
recasted.
Yeah. I feel like she just kind of that character just also kind of like fades
Mhm.
away. Like she just stops
She
appearing.
only the recast is only she's from the girl from Pacific Palisades. I forget her name, her real name, with the blonde chick.
That
Yeah,
was friends
with Rachel.
with
Yeah,
Rachel. Oh,
yeah,
I know exactly who you're talking about. Oh, wow.
yeah. But I don't think she's on the show long. I think she only lasts like 3 months, and then they get rid of the character entirely.
And you know what? Her being on the show would have been after Pacific Palisades.
Yeah,
Aaron Spelling always reuses his actors and everything.
it does. It does.
Huh. Oh, that's cool. I can't wait to tell Eric that.
Oh,
He won't care. He's gonna be like, I don't remember Sunset Beach.
yeah.
um, was there anything like specific you wanted to mention? Because I'm kind of hopping all over the
I
place.
do have a question because my memory's not there about this, but how did Elaine find out that Cole was her son? Do you remember?
I I think it was the fact that he just looks the way he looks, and he
Like
looks
he
like a
looks
spitting
like Jimmy
image of
J.
Armando.
Yeah. Okay. That
And
makes.
then I think just from talking to him about
Mhm.
like growing up without his mother or like being abandoned by his mother, I think she just kind of put the pieces
There's put
together.
together. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
'Cause
Uh,
he's a recast, right? There was like
oh, Ashley Hamilton played him originally.
yeah, yeah, for like
He was
30
terrible.
episodes. He would like try to look brooding and like so deep but he'd just be like
Yeah,
and just be staring off into the distance.
yeah. I love how many characters talk to themselves. I forgot how many characters really like talk to themselves all the time. Because
See, I don't even blink at that because on days they do that. They've always done that, so that I just feel like that's normal.
yeah, it's normal. Yeah, Cole talks to himself a lot. Annie talks to herself a lot. Virginia's gonna start talking to herself as she becomes more and more involved in the show. But yeah,
Yeah, I remember her being in the opening credits in the different
it's
song.
weird for me to see Virginia being nice because I'm just so used to her being a villainess.
Mhm. So yeah, so Michael goes to see Virginia and Jimmy,
Hmm.
and does he find or the mom find? They say it's crack. It looks like cocaine to me in his book
Yeah,
bag.
it did.
And
Yeah, because Michael asked Jimmy for a pen and he threw his book bag at him.
oh, so Michael found it.
Yeah,
By the way, the actor that plays Michael has, I feel like, worked consistently since Sunset Beach. I've seen him in
definitely
everything over
has.
the years.
And
He was
he's
in
been in a lot
Titans.
of soaps too.
What was he in?
I'm like nighttime soaps. He did a lot of
Oh,
soaps.
Nighttime Soaps. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, right now he was on Station 19,
Hmm.
and now that that's canceled, he's going to Grey's Anatomy. So he's just like always booked.
Yeah.
He was on that show Mistresses, at least for the
Yeah,
first
that's the
two
one I was thinking
seasons.
of. Yeah.
Like I've just always seen him in things. Good for him. Always
Mhm.
booked.
Mhm.
um, I find it funny that Susan Ward,
Mhm.
who plays Meg,
Mhm.
was kind of it was kind of promoted like she was the star of the show, but it's basically an ensemble. Nobody really gets more screen time than
That's
her.
one thing I wanted to mention. It's funny how similar Sunset Beach is, how Meg is similar to Brenda from 90210, because the way they dressed her in these
Oh,
episodes is
yeah.
the way they would dress Brenda in the early episodes of 90210, like a Midwestern fish out of water kind of way.
See, today I was thinking that Meg was kind of like Teresa from Passion.
Compassion.
She was obsessed with Ethan, and she's obsessed with Ben.
I don't
But
think
she's
she's as obsessed as Teresa was with Ethan, though.
it feels like since she found out that Ben is
Yeah.
SB,
Hmm.
it seems to have kind of leveled off. But when she
Hmm.
didn't know who SB was, she was like obsessed with finding him.
I agree with that. Yeah, for sure. But
um,
yeah, I think yeah, like I don't think Susan Ward it was like the star of the show, but I think that she definitely was a catalyst for the beginning of the show, like
yeah.
into town and everything.
Um, I felt like because she left too at some point. She was kind of poised to be the breakout star, and then well, she came back because it was ending, but then
Yeah,
her career really didn't go anywhere, really.
I mean, she did do a few things after the show, but she doesn't act anymore. She just raises her kids, I think.
Yeah, I had read that. Um, what else? Oh, so Caitlyn seems like she's pretty ride or die. She doesn't care
Hmm.
that Cole is a jewel thief. She's just like, just
I
promise me.
know.
She's like, just promise me you're not going to do it again. And then when she realized he did it again, she's like covering his tracks,
Yeah, I know.
which adds up with the fact that she didn't care that he had a baby with her mom when I was watching. See, that's my brother.
Well, she did care originally, yeah. She cared a lot.
He's like, actually. um, oh, so Annie and Eddie seem to have a deal that whoever
Mhm.
finds the Deschanel jewels first, they're gonna split it 50-50.
Yeah.
And Ben hears this.
Mhm.
Um, oh, so when Cole broke into to the safe to get the Deschanel jewels, I
Mhm.
didn't know where he was. I didn't know he was at the Deep. I thought he was
Yeah.
in Ben's house because
Oh,
he earlier in the episode or an episode before was in Ben's house, and Annie came home, and then he like
he was
snuck
looking
out. So
for it, yeah.
I thought he went back to the house.
Well, he overheard somebody say I think he overheard Annie talking to, was it Bet, maybe? And then or maybe Eddie, and he found out the jewels were at in Ben's safe at the deep.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
what he heard. Okay.
Mhm.
I must, yeah. I either didn't hear that or I just lost it.
Mhm.
Because when he was looking at his plans and he was just like saying what
Mhm.
kind of like security system it was like, it was almost like, oh, I have a tool for that. Like, I could disarm that. I was like,
Yeah.
it's like, you're a super spy.
Mhm.
um, so yeah, so he breaks. Would he have had to break in though? The club was open.
Mhm.
I mean, he would have break into the safe, but like to actually get into the office.
Mhm.
But whatever. So he's in the office. He gets into the safe. Ben comes in, and I guess he heard him because then he put his mask on, so you
Mhm.
couldn't see who it was.
Yeah.
And they fought, and I'm like, I really didn't know what was gonna happen here. I was like, ooh, is Cole about to get arrested? But he manages to get the upper hand for like a split second, and then he like dives out the glass window into the club and runs out the back.
That was crazy. I was not expecting that either.
I was like, yeah, I definitely have not seen this. So,
Yeah.
and he goes to the grotto. He leaves a blood trail.
Mhm.
Olivia or Caitlin are always, or even um, Cole are always just hanging out at the grotto. Like if they need to find one of those three people, they're at the grotto.
Yeah. They're always
Caitlin's there. I'm remembering the time that they had sex.
Mhm.
Do you remember when Caitlyn and him were first starting and he was kind of pushing her away because Gregory had threatened him?
Kind of,
And
yeah.
she thought it was because she was inexperienced. So
Mhm.
she kind of went a little like I'm just gonna fuck everybody, so I have the experience. Like she has sex with Tim multiple times, and
Oh,
he's
that's
like, I'm not gonna
yeah,
do
I
this.
forgot about that, yeah.
And then when Tim wouldn't have sex with her, she's like, I'm so ugly, nobody wants to fuck me. In a PG daytime kind of way, she said that pretty much.
Right, right.
But yeah. So Cole comes and she sees that he's hurt. He tries to lie about what happened.
Mhm.
I thought it was funny. She left to go get like supplies. She went to the motel to get like sheets, I guess, to wrap around him. But I thought it was funny. He was there by himself, like heavy breathing, like he's so wounded, and he just had to rip his shirt open because we just need to see where the wound is. I was like,
That
yes.
was I know, right? I was like, "He's gonna rip his shirt off." It's
I was like, I'm not gonna argue with science if that's what he has to do to
Right,
breathe.
I'm not gonna argue with this at all.
But that's when Caitlin finds the blueprints and all
Mhm,
his tools to break into things. And
mhm,
she's like, if my father finds this, he's
right.
gonna run him out of town. So she's like covering up for him.
Well, didn't she know that he was planning to find the jewels anyway, and then he was like, "No, I'm gonna stop," and then he decided to take them again?
Yes, because when she comes back and she's like, tying him up, saying he has bruised ribs and cut, he
Mhm,
stop bleeding. She's like, you said you weren't gonna steal jewels anymore, like, and he's like,
mhm.
yeah, but then I found out where the jewels were. He's like, so I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, and he's taking him for his grandma who wants
Yeah,
him.
he tells a story about how his grandma raised him.
Right. Mhm.
And I think like his grandfather gave her the jewels, and she said he needs to like put the family back together by finding these jewels.
Right, right.
um, what else?
So many justifications.
And she's just like, oh, okay.
I'm in love with you. Okay, whatever
Yes,
you wanna do.
whatever you say. Um, oh, so Michael ended up confronting the drug dealer on the playground that was selling the kids.
Mhm,
And I think at this point is when he decided that he was going to invite Virginia and Jimmy to come live with him
mhm.
in his apartment that's over the garage
Right.
at Ray's house,
Yes.
rent free.
Mhm,
um, and through talking with Paula at the police station, Paula's talking about her mother's Waffle House and how she has to like pay attention to how that's being run while she's going to work and dealing with what's going on with her mom. And he mentions that Virginia needs a job and she has experience in the food industry. So
mhm,
she's like, if she wants the job, it's hers. So he gets Virginia a job.
mhm.
And he kept having these moments where like Virginia was like, "Oh my god, you're the best, thank you," and like hugging Michael, and you see, um, what's her name,
Vanessa.
Vanessa, kind of jealous. There's a lot of V's, Vanessa, Virginia.
Yeah.
um, Now I know Virginia sticks around for a while. Does
Mhm.
Jimmy? Does he, or
Yeah.
does he like go to college?
No, he's still a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they can
Jimmy's
still watch
around.
him.
Mhm. Yeah. They recast him, though. It's a different actor in '98.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember because do you remember his father, Jojo?
Mhm, they got killed, yeah.
So he is dead. I was trying to remember if he died
Yeah,
or
Michael actually killed him. I don't know if they said that on the show yet, but
I think so.
okay.
He like went to prison and then got out, and he was trying to find, I think, Virginia and Jimmy.
Mhm,
And I remember there was like a confrontation where somebody was kidnapped. I think Vanessa got kidnapped.
mhm.
But I can't remember if that's when he died or if he got arrested again. Like, I don't know if that, I can't remember if that story's over.
I think it is, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's been so long. It's been almost a year since I watched the show. um, well, it pretty much ended with Olivia finding Cole in the cave because, like I said, that all three of them just hang out in this grotto at any point, given point,
Mhm,
because she sees that Caitlin is like scurrying at home trying to pack things, and she's like, "Don't ask any
mhm.
questions," and she immediately knows it's about Cole. So before Caitlin can even make it out the house, Olivia is at the grotto.
I thought it was so funny when Caitlin brought him homemade chicken soup. Laughing. I was like, "That's gonna cure him. That's gonna
Yeah,
cure his
right.
wounds."
Um, but Olivia hides,
Hmm.
and Cole's like, "That soup is so good." He's like, "I could really use something solid. Could you get me a sandwich?" So she like runs to get him a sandwich.
Hmm.
And Cole's like, "You're not gonna tell her." And she's like, "How do you know?" And he's like, "Because you wouldn't have hid yourself if you really were gonna tell her." So he
Right.
like calls her bluff.
Well, she says, "I'll make a deal with you. I won't tell Caitlin as long as you all stay in town."
Right.
Yeah.
Which wasn't his plan. He already had like bought plane tickets and like he was ready to
Right.
go. The minute he got the jewels, he was like, "Let's get out of here."
Mm.
So I think Spike outlives Tiffany as far as being on the show.
He does. I think they keep him. I forget what the whole
Does he
exit
just become like
storyline
a
was.
stray dog that is just like fluttering around town?
I forget what the whole exit storyline was with Tiffany, but I remember Gregory being like, "And I'm keeping the dog."
Oh really? Even though he's allergic.
Yeah, I think he develops a fondness for him.
But I think Spike actually makes the opening credit.
He does. Well, I don't know if you. This scene is probably coming up sooner rather than later, where he gets a hold of Olivia's pregnancy test and's running around the house with it.
No. Oh wow.
That was classic.
Ray finally came clean to her parents that her and Casey are married.
Yeah,
They're
and they
very
cut her off.
disappointed. They're like, "You're coming back to San Francisco and you're gonna do what we tell you to do." And she's like, no."
I don't blame her. I would say the same thing if my parents did that to me.
But Whaley seems happy, and I don't know if it's because he said something like she'd never choose a guy over her family. So maybe it's because she's afraid her parents are gonna be mad at
Does
her and
he
never
know
talk to
yet?
her
I don't think
again.
he knows yet that she said no.
Oh, because he was like lurking outside the house when they were there.
Yeah, he was. I don't know.
But
I don't know the whole scenario yet, but
I honestly don't think she has more than 10 episodes left.
yeah, she's on her way out. Mhm.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, she went halves with Casey on this house. Who's gonna buy her out? Like, are we just gonna ignore that detail?
No, I think they do address it. I think Casey ends up buying her out,
Oh, okay.
or somebody buys her out. I forget. Maybe Michael.
Meg like blurted out, "We should live together" to Ben. I was like, whoa.
I know. I'm like a little fast there. So maybe she is more like Teresa than I'm giving her credit for.
Do you remember when she thought that Casey might be SB and she
Yeah,
made
that
him
was the
like
beginning.
strawberry pie and he's like allergic to strawberry?
Yeah, I remember that.
And she like almost killed him.
Yeah,
And she's like, "But that doesn't make any sense. You said you love strawberries." It
yeah.
may have been raspberries. It was some kind of seeded berry
It was definitely
that
strawberry. Yeah. Oh, I love Bet. That cracks me up. She's hilarious. She's
Yeah,
like,
Bet, Olivia, Annie,
mm,
and then Cole because he's nice to look at are my favorite characters. And Gregory, I enjoy his nastiness, his snarkiness.
yeah.
Oh, he like so Vanessa tried to quit because she doesn't like the direction that the paper is going to go in if he's going to be running it,
Mhm.
and he like won't let her quit. He's like, "You have a contract and I'll sue you." And he's like, "It's an agreement." She's like, "Yeah, but I agreed to that contract before you owned it." And I'm like, he's a lawyer, and again, I'm applying real world logic, but I feel like she could get out of that with that excuse.
Yeah.
Like these are not the terms she signed on for.
Correct. Yeah. Well, she would have to get a lawyer, and
Yeah,
yeah,
like technically they breached her contract.
exactly. Yeah. I have a couple things. I thought it was really funny when Ricardo kissed Gabby in bed, thinking she was Paula, and then Paula's like comes up behind him. That was really
And she's
funny.
just like,
Like, what are you doing?
Meanwhile, previously, anytime we do see
Mhm.
Gabby, she's always remembering her and him like making out in that hotel, motel, whatever, when they first met anonymously at the Deep.
Mhm. Yeah,
Which, okay, if you think about that, I feel like she knew that that was her sister's boyfriend and she targeted him.
I think so too. I think so too.
But
I
she tried the way she plays it because I can't read her, I feel like she tried to play it off like she didn't know.
Okay, so now I'm remembering. I think she blames Paula for having a better life than she did. I don't know what it was. They have the same father.
They have the same father, so maybe the father was, like, terrible.
The
Maybe he
father was
was abusive.
terrible. She ended up with the father, and I guess she had a really horrible upbringing life, and she blames that on Paula. And she wants revenge on Paula, taking her man away. And
I
it's not
hate
Paula's
that.
fault.
Right, I hate that excuse so much.
Yeah.
They tried that on 90210 with Vanessa Marcel's character and Donna, like, she was always just so jealous of Donna because she had the better life.
Mhm.
'Cause their mothers were sisters. So
Right.
Donna got to grow up rich, and she's like, "And I got all the hand-me-downs." And she was
Mhm.
just, like, so I never liked Gina. I like Vanessa Marcel, but I never liked Gina because
Yeah, I didn't like Gina
she was just
either.
mean for no reason.
Yeah, I didn't like Gina at all.
I like vixens, I like bad girls, but I like them when they have redeeming qualities. I don't like it when they're just jealous and
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. And their motive needs to be a little more
complex.
complex.
Not just,
Yes.
"You had a better life than me." Okay, sorry.
Okay, sorry. um, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next batch. It should be good. There's a lot of fun stuff coming up with the Caitlin Cole and Olivia storyline, so that's gonna be
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
fun.
Um, well, thank you for joining us as we dive back into Sunset Beach. We will be back in a couple of weeks with this, because we're gonna switch off with our General Hospital 1992 coverage. So next week will be General Hospital. But as always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Bye.